What's up, bitches? Got a Pixie Night deck for you today, good format. This card is really cool. It is a 1300 attack, level 2 spellcaster, which has some fantastic synergy with cards we'll get to much later. That 1300 is pretty nice because you can crash it into like 1500s, 1600s, only take a tiny bit of damage, and get its bonkers effect off, which says when this card is sent to the graveyard as a result of battle, your opponent selects one spell card from your graveyard, and place wait there, and that card is placed on top of your deck. Old school wording there, but you get the idea. Really cool card. You play the deck around this card as well as some other cards. So we're maxing out on Magician of Faith. We are also maxing out on this card, Magical Merchant, and that is because the only spells we run no traps, and the only spells we run in this entire deck are as follows: Pop Greed, Dimension Fusion, Card Destruction, and Graceful Charity. So Graceful Charity is absolutely nuts in this deck because we run all the discard fodder possible. Card Destruction, same goes. This is also amazing because we run all monsters, so our hand is going to be filled with monsters. This helps us get to these broken spells. Dimension Fusion, we run a whole mess of Banishee shenanigans in this deck, so this is always good. 2 is a bit too many, 1 is perfect, and obviously Pot of Greed, you never do not want to see or add or whatever this card. So the idea is you use your Magical Merchant. There's a bunch of flips in here that you can use to bait out your opponent's Nobleman of Crossout before you set this. This will mill a bunch of monsters in the graveyard, which will usually be really nice. And then it'll add you one of the most broken cards in the game, guaranteed. You can then abuse the fuck out of them with this engine. We max out on Moth because if our opponent knocks a Moth, we don't mind. We get to banish a load of fodder for our Dimension Fusion if we want to make a tribute summon. It thins our deck so we can guarantee to see Magical Merchant or Pixie Knight. So all good stuff. On to the next bit. We run, as I say, all of the discard fodder that we can fit into the deck. So you've got Double Knight Assailant. This is busted because if our opponent exiled forces a Magician of Faith or a Magical Merchant, we can add it back by discarding with cards we'll get to, well, Card Destruction mainly, which you're going to be abusing a lot. And as well, Card Destructions is probably the card your opponent's going to pick most to put on top of your deck, so Knight Assailant is going to be live a lot of the time. You've got Since the Serpent. You often mill this with Merchant, seeing as we're running 3 and 5 spells, so that's a nice tasty +1. With Graceful Charity, it's utterly bonkers. With a card we'll get to in a second, it is utterly bonkers. A few cards to be fair. And you've got Triple Thunder Dragon, a nice +1. Card Destruction is a light, all good shit, and it's a 1600 beta which can come up. Obviously we run a lot of monsters, our hand's going to be clogged full of monsters. If we've got a set Serpent or a set flip that we want to activate, we can flip the flip, tribute summon, get a nice tasty 1600 damage in, or get a nice even card advantage with Serpent. Speaking of card advantage, you've got Cyber Gira. So this card in this deck basically reads special summon 5 monsters from the top of your deck, unless you hit this card, which is the only conflicting cards in the deck is this card, Cyber Gira, which you have to run, and Tsukiyomi, which I really like running in this deck. If you hit 2 of them, obviously that sucks, but basically 90% of the time you're going to be special summoning 5 monsters from the top of your deck. If not, you're going to be special summoning 4 and adding one of the most broken cards in the game to your hand. So very, very good. It's a dark, it's a flip, it baits out knock if you've got merchant, so all that good shit. I've already shown you Tsukuyomi, so I might as well show you this little package. So I do run 2 Tsukuyomi. We run triple moth, we run Night Assailant, so that's very good to be used with Tsukuyomi, and we run another few cards that we'll get to later on. We run a copy of Shining Angel, just the one, because we do run a bunch of tomato-like cards in this deck. We don't run tomato, but we run tomato-like cards, and this can get you to your Magician of Faith if you've got Tsukuyomi in hand, which means that you get to set the moth and then flip it the same turn and add Pot of Greed or Dimension Fusion or whatever. It's just super fast and super nice. Shining Angel can also get you to Skelengle, which is a really nice card because it just lets you draw a card. Very similar to Koichi, but not very big. It is for when you don't want to get Magician of Faith because you've not gotten to your broken spells yet, and this helps you get to said broken spells, or Merchant, which helps you get to said broken spells. Sorry if you can hear the noise outside. Some prats are making far too much noise in the street. Next up, you've got more tomato-like cards. You have Triple Apprentice Magician. This is a really, really good card, because it gets you to your Magician of Faith, obviously. It gets you to Pixie Night also, and it also gets you to Gold Vindictive Magician, which is nice because it's monster removal. It's nice because it's dark, and it's nice because of Tsukuyomi and Night Assailant. So very, very synergy. Yeah, very synergy. Next up, this is where you're gonna think I'm pretty crazy. So Tribe Infected Virus, this is a must in this deck because you run all the discard Boiks, and because I decided to run this card, I also decided to run this crazy little package. So you've got Double Abyss Soldier, really broken card at 2, unfortunately. You've got Double Mother Grizzly, this helps you get to Sinister Serpent for your Abyss Soldier. It's also just a nice stall out card, especially when used in conjunction with your Yumi ship. So this is a really cool card. It destroys whatever destroyed it in battle. Really, really nice. It's got low attack, but it's got a pretty decent defense of 14, so that's not too bad at all. And the reason we run those is because we run Lakunga, which is a 1700 beta, which is really, really nice. You special summon it by banishing 2 waters from your graveyard, which is really, really nice because it works with Dimension Fusion. This can be tribute fodder for your Mobius the Frost Monarch, and also 2 seconds. Oh, sorry, this you don't. Sorry, I've completely messed up there. So you don't bring it out by banishing 2 water monsters. You summon it, you banish 2 water monsters, and then you get a special summon 2 tokens, which can be used for tribute fodder. So really, really cool card. You've got the Mobius, like I say, this is a must also. Like, you'd be running this even if you weren't running a mini water package because you need spell and trap removal. You can't run spell and trap removal because your opponent will just add that to the top of your deck every time. You've got Aqua Spirit, similar reasons to Lakunga. This banishes a water monster from your graveyard to special summon it for a 1600 beat stick. Very, very nice. Applies pressure, gets monsters out your hand to limit you discarding for your hand size. Works with Dimension Fusion, works with Mobius's tribute fodder. I'm not sure if I already said that, but it does do that. And it is a really, 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 really cool card. It also has an effect which does actually come up As long as this card remains face up on the field during each of your opponent's standby phases, you can change the battle position of one opponent's face up monster. And once it's changed, it can change it again for the rest of the turn. So that's actually a really cool stun effect. If your opponent's got like a I don't know, like an air knight Parsha or something, doesn't get too much play now, but a big beat stick basically, and they've just got a bunch of traps. You can summon this, they either have to burn a decent trap on it, or you're just going to lock them out and they have to draw another monster. So really, really cool. And last of all, you've got Sangan. This is a must in pretty much any Goat deck, and it searches the majority of the deck, I'm assuming. It searches Yomi Ship, Mother Grizzly, it searches Apprentice Magician, Old Vindictive, Skalangle, Shining Angel, Tsukiyomi, Cyber Jar, Sinister Serpent, which is obviously bonkers, Night Assailant, pretty bonkers, Morph bonkers, Pixie Knight bonkers, Magical Merchant bonkers. So not a bad card in this deck. You've got obviously the Chaos package, no need to explain these. 2 Sork is always better than 3. At me in the comments. Yeah, that's the deck. It's fucking actually decent, surprisingly. I love it. I think it's super cool, and I don't think you could call it underrated because I'm not sure I've even seen anything like this, but it is going to be making waves on Dueling Book in a few minutes when I boot up my laptop. So yeah, let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good shit, and take care of yourselves.